Metro on 1019 WDET. This is Detroit Public Radio. I'm Kerry Jr. II. Now, after a 2-year break, the Hospitality Included Food and Drink Festival is set to return to Detroit's North End. The Detroit-based industry group Hospitality Included will host 30 of the bars, restaurants, and pop-up chefs as vendors at this outdoor festival that also features music and visual art. The one-day festival is August 24th at Detroit Design District in Detroit's North End neighborhood. And joining me now to talk about what's in store for Hospitality Included Fest is the festival's organizer, Thor Jones. Thor, welcome to the Metro.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Okay, so looking at the poster for the Hospitality Included event, it's stacked with a ton of names, places, very beloved places throughout the city of Detroit, places I've been to, a lot of folks who listen have been to, plus some of the city's best known artists and musicians. What kind of experience can people who attend the fest expect this year?
I'd say an organically Detroit experience. I think we do a good job of grabbing everybody, places that everyone likes. So you have, your higher end places like Ladder 4, She-Wolf, and we also throw in there, Dutch Girl Donuts, Good Cakes and Bakes, pop-ups, Ayiti Spaghetti, Nourish Ramen. So we're covering all bases. So yeah, I think, mixed with the DJs that we have, with the artists that we have, you're getting the best of the best.
When did talk about like the origins of this festival? Why bring something to Detroit and do, as you say, this authentically, organically Detroit festival?
I think, it comes from kind of our beliefs as Hospitality Included. We're an organization that supports the hospitality industry, but we also very much believe that hospitality itself, the act of hospitality, can change neighborhoods, and specifically Detroit being the blackest city in the nation, and we believe that hospitality is something that can uplift the black community here. It also is an industry that doesn't really reflect the neighborhoods that surround it. So we want to try to make sure that is for everybody.
Talk about that some more for me. Hospitality supports the city, its residents. How so? Give me kind of the day-to-day for folks who work in the hospitality industry. Obviously, they work with people face-to-face, but talk about like what that means and how that brings a certain spirit or energy to the city that you say, is essential. The industry itself, it's a wonderful industry. I've been in it 17, 18 years. Wow.
I don't know if the community knows as much that it's a place where you can make a decent living. And, I have 2 children and a wife, and it supports our family. And so we want to diversify the industry. You go into these restaurants and it's not necessarily, it doesn't represent, the aesthetic and the demographic of the people you're sitting with or who's taking care of you doesn't reflect what the city looks like. And there's avenues, there are places. And so we're just trying to like bridge that gap.
You mentioned a very interesting point about how like when you go to places and restaurants, you feel like sometimes the city's not represented in who's serving you. But I also wonder in the nuances of that, how it matters between like who's front of house, who's back of house, how those dynamics play as well. We're talking about black people being represented in the service industry. Can you just kind of speak to me about those nuances, what that means, what it looks like, and how you would like to see it change?
Yeah. Front of the house, back of the house is definitely a thing. Mm-hmm. Black and brown people,
When you say a thing, what does that mean?
It's a, you see more people of color in the back of the house than you do in the front. The back of the house generally makes less money than the front of the house. And I think that comes from, it's a deeper conversation, but I think a lot of it comes from what people are comfortable with in Detroit. I think for a long time, it was come downtown and lock your doors. But once you're inside one of these restaurants, you're in a safe space as long as they look like you. And I think we're getting away from that. I think restaurants are doing a great job, but I think there's still a ton of work to do. You know what I mean? I think when I talk like this or when I talk about this topic, you know, I've had restaurateurs in the city that are extremely successful, you know, treat me as if I'm, you know, pushing a narrative or speaking about something that, you know, I believe is pretty clear to see.
Like this kind of conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, I've had people tell me to stay out of their politics, or don't put my politics on them. And it's like, you have a business in downtown or the north end of Detroit, and how is this anybody's politics? How is it not your own? You know what I mean?
It's a part of our day-to-day lives.
100%.
Everyone's experiencing it, and politics are a part of that.
For sure.
Yeah. Talk about the relationship between the industry itself, hospitality, and the creative industry as well. Both of those are very crucial to what makes Detroit Detroit. And so just talk about that relationship and why you brought that together for this festival.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like the hospitality industry is the creative industry itself. You know what I mean? Culinary art, food is art. And I've met some of the most creative people in my life in the hospitality industry. A lot of artists tend to be in the hospitality industry due to, you know, the structure of work, being able to, you know, be in your studio or create throughout the day and then work at night. You know, and I say we as in like creative people, hospitality people. It's just a scope of work that is conducive to like us.
That's fair. Now, this event in particular, it's using something called community ticketing. Can you talk about what that is and how it works?
Yeah. So, I mean, every year the festival has been free, that we've had it. And, you know, we struggled last year, leaving Chroma, finding a new venue, trying to find support, you know, from trying to find some financial support. And we finally landed at a space at the Detroit Design District. And we still had a hefty, you know, gap to fill. We just were not able to keep it free. So with that, you know, we wanted to allow people the opportunity to invest in micro invest, you know what I mean? And what you can do is you can buy a ticket, you can buy 10, you can buy 100, you can buy as many as you'd like. You know, we did 4,500 to 5,000 people in 2023 and got rained out probably 3 hours in. So we're expecting big numbers. So, you know, we're just saying like, hey, if we can get to 6,000 tickets, cool. Like we will, it'll be free for everybody. And so how that works is you can go, you can buy a ticket. The ticket is not for yourself. You can't show up and be like, hey, I purchased 2 tickets. Those tickets go towards whoever shows up at the time. So if we've sold over 3,000. If we sell 4,000 tickets on Sunday, the 24th, when you show up, the first 4,000 people will get in for free. After that, we will charge still the $5 to get in. But the hope, and what I think Detroit is able to do, because it's been a great response just in 3 weeks, 3,000 tickets, is that we'll be able to, you know, come Sunday, August 24th, say, hey, just show up, come in.
Wow. And so once you get to that number is when you'll be like, okay, festival's free, folks, show on up.
100%.
Wow. You're listening to The Metro on 101.9 WDET. I'm Kerry Jr. II. We're talking about Hospitality Included Fest. It's a pop-up food festival. It happens Sunday, August 24th at Detroit Design District in the city's North End. I'm joined by festival organizer Thor Jones. We're talking about the community ticketing element of this festival. Now, what you brought up and you kind of clarified my initial follow-up question is, if I bought 2 tickets, there is no expectation that I can show up and be like, hey, I want to get in with the 2 people, myself and my +1. If you hadn't sold enough tickets that day, I might buy 2 tickets, then show up the day of the festival and still have to buy tickets again to get in.
100%. Yeah. I know that it doesn't sound ideal. I will say, I think for what we're offering, for the experience that we're offering, for the community that you're going to be, you know, enthralled in, from the music that you're going to hear, from the art that you're going to be able to see. I think $5, you know, in comparison to other festivals that are going on. And I think if you have to end up paying 10, I think it'll be all right. Especially knowing that the other 5, you help somebody else get in.
Yeah, and then the hope is that folks can donate, and then even if you get more than the number of people who come, that's money that goes towards more work that you all do at Hospitality Included.
For sure. Yep.
Okay, understood.
But I mean, the 6,000 is pretty much just covering us
for that event. To break even.
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't say to break even, because we are, charging for drinks and things like that. So gotcha. I mean, there will be money made, but it will help us just make what we're trying to do happen.
Now, you mentioned before the struggles. I mean, part of why you're doing this model is because you're trying to sustain this financially. And it was a couple years where you all did host the festival. Why did you take that 2-year break? Was what you said before kind of the reason?
Yeah, I mean, I would say everybody after the 2023 year, people come out and it's like, this is amazing. This is, how can we help? And then when it's time to help, it doesn't always
materialize
exactly the way that you hope it would. On top of that, we kind of got roped into a situation with a group that was trying to bring back the Taste Fest, and it ended up kind of being a waste of our time. So we lost ground on being able to make the festival happen. So we, rather than try to force the situation and bring it in a way that we didn't feel represented what we've done in the past, we just took a year off, regrouped. And I just want to also say, because you were mentioning me as the organizer, I founded Hospitality Included, but myself and the Hospitality Included team, Taki, Takesha Pack, and Terrell Bush, put our part of Hospitality Included and put this on, and then we do this with a ton of help from Stephanie Leon of La Leoncita. So that is the team, as well as Vanguard Community Development and the Detroit Design District. Putting this on.
Of course. Put that out there. Much respect to making sure you shout out the team that put this on, because as you said before, y'all took some intentional time to be like, how do we put this on in the best way possible? For sure. Was this model, the community ticketing model, what made you all say, okay, yes, we can do this, because if we're able to get the folks, this makes sense for us?
Yeah, I mean, me, Taki, and Terrell were working an event not long before we started to sell tickets, maybe a week or two. And we were just talking and kind of came up with the idea, let's do it this way. And that was it.
Is there a broader long-term goal for Hospitality Included outside of the event? And obviously we want to host the event annually. What long-term do you all hope to achieve?
I think a ton. We have lofty goals. Opening a restaurant is something on the radar that we're trying to accomplish. We also want to further diversify the restaurant industry and see more representation. I think there's a lot of Black representation in the hospitality space. I think Black women are about to, as if they haven't already, but are about to have a huger move in the Detroit hospitality space. But continue to push that. We do staffing as well. We do programming, we curate. So I mean, there's a ton that we do. We just want to keep kind of pushing the needle forward.
I want to ask you about balancing affordability with essentially the pay of hospitality workers. In one hand, you can get food from a lot of different places, a lot of different qualities, a lot of different experiences. And those places determine what that price will be based off of what they offer you. But at the same time, we want to make sure that employees and workers are paid well, but you want food to be accessible for people who are in the city who want to eat all different types of experiences. How do you balance that out, I guess, from your perspective of being we want to make sure the food is affordable, but we also want to make sure we make enough so we can afford to pay these folks reasonable living wages?
I think there's a couple of things. I think that business owners, how they approach their business from jump, if you are trying to get into the restaurant industry to get rich, I think you're in the wrong industry. Unless you're trying to have like 30 or 40, unless you're trying to open J. Alexander's or something, you know what I mean? Like, not saying that they're, I don't know their pockets either, so I can't speak on that. But, it's having a place or two is not going to, have you rolling in dough. And if it does, then you're probably doing it wrong as far as just taking care of your staff is concerned. I think Takoi, that when you ask that question, that comes to mind. I think personally that's probably the best restaurant in Detroit for Detroit. In
what way?
Specifically, like just the food that they offer.
Okay.
You can't get, you can get, a beet salad and, some of these other dishes in a bunch of different other restaurants, and the food tastes similar. But you're not going to find any food like Takoi in the city. And the price point that he's serving it at, and the hourly wage that he's paying his staff, and automatic gratuity on everything. Freya does this as well. It's chartreuse. But just, House Chef Brad and Noel run that business, as well as Mary Davis and Charity, the management team. Like, it's just, it's staff first.
And they've got the balance down.
Right. And it's an incredible product, and they take care of each other in there. You
mentioned in that previous response, if you're in it to make money, you're in it for the wrong reasons. Why are you in the hospitality industry?
I'm in the hospitality industry because a couple of reasons. I'm first in it because when I dropped out of college, that was the first place that hired me, and but I enjoyed it, and I was able to make decent money and still party and have fun. And then as I got older and I wanted to take it more serious, it opened up a lot of doors for me. I met my wife in the hospitality industry. I've made tons of friends. But I've also, I think as of late, I've seen it as a vessel to create change. You're able to do a lot over a plate of food. You know what I mean? You can warm hearts. You can get through to people that may not have listened before. You can change people's minds. And then that's just the food aspect. With hospitality, you can change people's hearts. So it's just, I think it's the perfect vessel to create change.
And I'm not even going to go any further than that. That is a fantastic way to wrap this up and to represent what Hospitality Included is all about. Thor Jones, he is an organizer along with his team of the Hospitality Included Fest 2025. The one-day food, arts, and culture pop-up festival will feature over 30 food vendors plus music and visual art. It's Sunday, August 24th at Detroit Design District in the city's North End. Tickets are available at hospincluded.com. That's HOSP included.com. Thor, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Coming up, WDET Sounds Like Detroit Showcase is tonight at Batch Brewing. Doors are at 6 and the show starts at 7. Tickets available at WDET.org. We've got 4 artists performing, including Beth. She'll be joining me in the studio next. Stay right there.